Good morning, people. We're in the book of 1 Thessalonians. We're in chapter 1. We're reading the first verses 1 to verse 4. We started yesterday talking about what a really good church looks like. Now, Paul, when he writes this letter to the church in Thessalonica, is complimenting on these three characteristics. Remember what they were? The first one that was a church that was driven by faith, that drove them to works because they had faith in God. Faith without works, we all know, is kind of dead. And then he spoke to them about another aspect of what good church is all about. And he spoke to them about a love that endures. A love that endures. I guess this is probably one of the greatest tests of love, is the test of time. It's easy to love momentarily, isn't it? It's easy to love emotionally for a short period of time. But a love that endures, that's a rare find. And Paul finds it in this beautiful church. And he commends them upon this love that endures. Now, when I think of love, your mind automatically, or mine does, goes to 1 Corinthians 13. And enduring love is an interesting thing because it has to endure something. A love like we need to share with one another in the context of a good church is a love that sees past some of the people's faults. Is a love that is patient, according to 1 Corinthians 13. A love that is kind, a love that is not self-seeking, a love that is not easily angered, a love that is not rude, a love that does not remember wrongs. Now you understand why this is a love that endures, because every one of those different categories, and there are more, are aspects of what true love really has to endure. Now when we look at what this true love enduring looks like, it's a different kind of thing, this kind of love. It's a love that does three things. The first one that this kind of love does, it's a love that accepts everyone. It's a love that accepts. I don't know about you, but I think we kind of live in a world that says, I'll accept you if you do the following. If you don't do the following, A, B, C, or D, then you're not accepted by me. And you may need to find yourself another place to try and find acceptance. And the intriguing thing out there is that there are millions of people who just want to find love and acceptance. And when they don't find it in the church, they're going to look for it in the most weird and unattractive ways. Every teenager that comes to church should find love and acceptance for just being who they are. Every child is wanting to know, are they really loved? Are they liked? Are they celebrated? And this is what a real church looks like. Just look for a moment at the team that Jesus chose. Look at the team that he sat down with that night when he had the Last Supper. All the good guys were there. Matthew was there. He was the converted tax collector. Then there was Peter. He was the fisherman. There was John. He was the loved one. There was Luke, the doctor. There were so many of these people that Jesus accepted. But then all of a sudden we come across Judas. And we say, Jesus, you obviously didn't know too much about Judas when you accepted him. You didn't know that he was a sniveler, that he was a thief, that he would swindle you out of the money that you needed to run your discipleship program. But Jesus even accepted Judas. He didn't accept what he did, but he accepted Judas as a person, even though he knew what Judas was going to do. And so I think to myself, how far does this acceptance goes? Well, if Jesus is anything to go by, it's pretty vast. This kind of love that Jesus shows acceptance to even people like Judas. He washed his feet. That's a great sign of acceptance. It's a great sign of unconditional love. Even though you're going to betray me, I'll still wash your feet and I will still love you. So I want to encourage you today. We look across the church and we see, well, I like certain groups of people, I like certain types of people, and the rest are, it's okay that they're there, but the level of acceptance needs to get bigger, people. We need to start to accept people for who they are, not for necessarily what they do or what they stand for. That's a different thing, we'll talk about that. But love that says, I welcome you, red and yellow, black and white, they're all precious in his sight. If he finds acceptance for me, of all people, we should find acceptance for everybody. So look around you, check your attitudes. Watch out that you're not rejecting people on the basis of something that sometimes they can't even control. something that they inherently have and they can't change, our love and our acceptance needs to be pretty broad if it's going to be a love like 1 Corinthians 13 says. It's a love that endures. That, people, is hard work and may require from us from time to time a change of attitude or even a radical change of mind. Think about that. Cheers, guys. See you tomorrow.